Hi friends, today I want to talk about transformation versus transcendence. The spiritual journey, is it about transformation or evolution, or is it about transcendence or liberation? Evolution means transformation, transformation from the plant to the animal to the human to the divine. So evolution implies a gradual change into a more blissful, more joyful, more humble, more in tune with the laws of nature, more divine human person. So when I talk of evolution of a human being, it means the transformation from animal consciousness into godly divine consciousness, the ability to experience more joy, more bliss, more presence and awareness in everything around you. This capacity, the increase in this capacity, is what we would mean as evolution, becoming a better person, becoming a more spiritual and growing in consciousness, going closer to the divine. This would be evolution. Whereas liberation or transcendence would mean a jump, a quantum jump from where you are into another state, wherein there are no steps or there is no process of growth. It is just like you are sleeping and you have been awakened. So after awakening, the sleep is over and you are liberated. So there is no evolution happening. It is only a liberation. It is only a quantum release from delusion into the truth. So is the spiritual journey all about evolution, wherein you get more and more experiences, or when you grow in consciousness, or is it actually about getting liberated, wherein you free yourself from a separate existence and merge into everythingness or nothingness? So how do you the question that I want to address right now is the spiritual path about evolution, or is it about liberation? Should one aspire to become better, to try to grow in consciousness and develop better qualities and slowly become more peaceful and awaken the spiritual centers within you? Should you try to do that, or should you say that no, this is all just a dream and I want to just overcome it all, so I would just rather end the game once and for all and go into liberation mode, wherein I just jump and don't want to experience any more of separation, don't want to sow the seeds of karma, may either it be good or bad. I don't want to even experience happiness or bliss. I just want to merge into the truth, be free from the delusion. Now, to answer this question of transcendence versus transformation, which is more suitable for a person, which should be aspired for, what is the spiritual journey all about? We have to go deeper and find out who is it that evolves. If you say evolution, is the unchanging absolute going to evolve? Are you going to become something more than what you already are? Evolution means adding something to yourself. So, if you talk of liberation, then is something that is not liberated, which is not already awake, can it be awakened? Can it be liberated? It is only the end of illusion. That which is already free doesn't need to become free. The divine presence, the deep divine, you can say God, has become a human being wearing the garment of the flesh, the body and mind, and become identified with this little wave, with this separate entity. And this separate entity goes through a process of evolution wherein the wave moves and has a journey and experiences different phenomena in this changing world. So on the one hand, we have the evolution of, the spirit descending into matter and experiencing the whole world anew through the eyes of, wearing the mask of the body and spirit and becoming identified with the delusion. So the unchanging absolute is already the unchanging absolute, doesn't need to be liberated or evolved either. Nothing you can add more to it. But when it identifies with the body, mind, person, individual, separate self, then it loses the vast infiniteness and it becomes this little mask that it has identified with. And this identification becomes so strong that it's almost like it is forgotten its divine origins, what it really was, and it has become so engrossed in this game of separation and form and illusion. And this separate identity goes through a process of evolution. It is almost like the body and the mind has to evolve. It is the vehicle that upgrades to a higher version and a better model, and the body and the mind become more suited to express the divine consciousness. So a more evolved person would be a more evolved instrument of body and mind and soul, which is capable of reflecting the divine more accurately or in a more intense manner so that the light can shine through. The body and mind, as it evolves, becomes more light, less dense, less opaque. It becomes transparent almost, so that the light of spirit can shine through. So the divine entering into the physical realm through the body and mind, and the growth of this body and mind to express more of that divinity is what we call as evolution. See, who is it that evolves? This is the question, main question, when you ask about evolution versus liberation, or when you ask about transformation versus transcendence. The question boils down to one thing. Who is it that evolves? Who is it that transforms? Who is it that transcends? Who is it that is going to be liberated? Evolution is for the body and mind. Even people who have awakened, even people who have seemingly been liberated from this dream, or you can say they have already transcended into the divine consciousness. Even in these people, the body and mind continues to go through a process of evolution. So, it depends on from where you are talking, on which level is your awareness. If your awareness, see, there is an awareness in the body and mind, there is an awareness also behind in the formless. In the body and mind, it is the presence of the formless that is actually moving. So, if you are identified with the body and mind, then you say that, yes, I am asleep and I need to evolve. But if you can break this identification and identify with the formless being that you are, which is infinite, which is just, you have to break this identification with the body and mind, and then the identityless has no form and shape. It is always it is in a potential form. It can become anything it wants to become, and that one does not need to evolve. It doesn't go through any change. It is just silence, stillness, potential for all manifestations. So it depends on where you are standing at. If you are standing in the body and mind, then that has to go through evolution. And if you are standing in the formless, behind the body and mind, the presence that animates this body and mind, then that doesn't change. The experiencer, the perceiver, doesn't change. The driver of the vehicle is the same. The vehicle evolves, different models, different brands, as you become, as the karma, or the process of evolution, as it progresses, you get better and better brands of vehicles to drive, but the driver himself doesn't change. So transcendence means realizing that you are the driver and not the vehicle. But even after this realization, you are still driving a particular vehicle. You may not be identified with the suffering of the vehicle. You may not care so much, and you may drive more smoothly, and you may become more qualified to get a better vehicle, and your process of evolution speeds up if you are not identified with the vehicle. But you still need to, whether you are identified with the vehicle, believing that you are this vehicle, or whether you are identified with the driver, knowing that you are not the vehicle, the process of evolution still has to take place. For whom does it take place? For the vehicle, not for the driver. So the vehicle has to keep on reforming, transforming, becoming better, getting more abilities to express the wish of the driver. So if the driver wants to go fast and slow and different electronics, air conditions, and through telepathical powers of communication, the vehicle will move, and it may be able to fly. So different vehicles, as you evolve, the vehicle gets more finer, and more controls, and more ability to, more freedom, more degrees of freedom, and more creative expression of that divine. So the ability to experience joy, peace, bliss, love is more, as the vehicle is more evolved, more in tune with nature. But the driver doesn't change. As the vehicle evolves, the ability to express that divinity increases. So both are needed. You need to have the process of evolution if you want to be more free and experience more joy, whereas the experiencer itself doesn't need to change. It is already free, and if the desire to experience is not there, then you can remain awake, and you don't need to wear a garment of any form. You don't need to drive any vehicle either. You don't need to experience anything more. So I hope this clarifies. See, with Ramana Maharshi, who was in Tiruvannamalai, the Arunachala mountain, he used to have divinity in that. See, he says, just find out who am I, and that will rid you of all suffering. to know the answer of your own identity, because there is no answer for who am I. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not anything that can be located, anything that can be identified. You're not anything that can be talked about. No word can describe what you are in the essence. The eye cannot perceive itself, but the perceiver who is seeing, the power by which the eye can see is that you are that. You are not any thought or any word, but you are that by which the mind can think. So the cow of Ramana Maharshi also was said to have, when it died, the name of the cow was Lakshmi. When that cow died, it is said to have been liberated. So now one can wonder that what about the evolution for that cow? Poor cow, it didn't get a chance to experience a human birth. So this is where there is no end point of evolution. You cannot say that now this is fully evolved and so now it is ready for liberation. No. Liberation can happen at any point on the ladder of evolution. Because liberation is not for the form, not for the one that evolves. Liberation is for the one who is already liberated. So it is only a shift in identity. If you think I am the changing one who is going through the process of evolution, then you cannot experience liberation. If you shift your awareness, or if you awaken to, no, I am not this, the body and mind, it has got its journey, it goes on, but I am the one behind, I am not this, I am. If you can awaken into your true I amness that you are already, then you will know that this is liberation. There is no change for this I am. The body and mind can continue to evolve, continue to grow, continue to experience. That is fine. That is the way of expressing more of what I am in this physical world, thought world also, astral worlds also. But I am what I am. This doesn't change. This is awakening, this is liberation. But I am can still use different vehicles. It can have different powers of manifestation depending on how evolved a vehicle it is driving in. So the evolution is there for the body and mind. It is like the different dresses that the presence, or you can say God, is wearing. And then if it is not needed after death, or the body-mind complex is just, the pranic body is just put into the wardrobe in a hanger, ready for use when required. So I can wear that dress anytime I want. But that is a very evolved car which has, the vehicle has gone through the process of evolution, and it has got, so when needed, like Jesus has come down to the earth, or the avatars who come down to reform humanity, they would come in a garment of an evolved body-mind. So these garments have to evolve. These vehicles, that goes through a process of evolution, and those are kept, those are still there. Anytime the consciousness can put on those vehicles, those garments, and come back into the physical world. So from if you see in the physical, if you see in the body-mind way, in the three-dimensional world, this mineral or stone has got some degree of consciousness, very less you can say, and then it becomes a plant and it manifests some degree of presence. Then you can become, say, an animal, and more freedom, much more evolved body wherein it can move about, and then can become a human being when it's sufficiently evolved in that body, mind, soul of the animal comes into a human vehicle and expresses more of divinity. It can think, it can reason, it can experience love and divinity, which the animals can't do. And then you become more divine, So it is the form that is undergoing the evolution, and the human being becomes a divine being wherein he is so joyful, so much aware, present, beauty all around, loving, in tune with nature, living as a god. And still the process of evolution continues in different worlds, in different planes. This body mind continues to evolve and express more and more of divinity. Whereas the experiencer, the core of being, the awareness doesn't change. It is one with all life. It is the presence in everything which animates all dimensions and all planes of existence. So you can't choose between evolution and liberation. Evolution has to happen whether you are awakened or not, and liberation means you are not identified with that which is evolving. Even after you are liberated, the process of evolution still continues. So this is what I wanted to say about this. This is from my little understanding that I can speak like this. I hope it brings some light into your knowledge. Thank you. Bye-bye.